We'll be talking about Tata Small Cap Fund, which has performed considerably well in the past 2 years. And we'll dig deep into this particular fund and know whether a beginner should invest in this particular fund or not, right? Or even if someone is an experienced investor, should he or she invest in this particular fund or not, right? So let's dig deep into this particular fund and let's see what's in store for all of us, right? Now, when it comes to the return comparison, if you had invested 10,000 rupees since the inception of this particular fund, and that is 2018, right? Your investment would have turned 28,200 approximately. At the same time, if you had invested in any of the category average, it would have returned, or it would have given you a growth of 26,600. So there is not much gap between these two, means category and this fund's return, right? But the index has performed, means underperformed, I can say, as compared to the category as well as this particular fund. The index has generated a return of 19,663, right? Now, when it comes to investment days, you already know that we should only look at certain important things. Number one is the minimum SIP amount, 500, perfect. The exit load, see, for units in excess of 12% of the investment, right? Whatever your investment is, if the units that you are allotted are in excess of 12%, then 1% will be charged for whenever you redeem your investments within a year, right? Secondly, if you see the expense 1.76, it's a bit more than the category average. We'll see in the next slides and all. But very important and very appreciable thing about this particular fund is the turnover. See, 6.42, being a small cap mutual fund or a small cap scheme, the turnover is really appreciable that it is 6%, which shows the confidence of the fund managers on their pickings, right? Next, the asset allocations. And as of now, the fund is invested 90% of its allocation into equities, and the rest it's holding in the form of cash. Very vital thing to do is the factor profiling, right? See, the yield is below average, but if you go through, if you dissect the overall fund, you will see that lately the fund is incorporating some stocks that give dividend. So having dividend stocks in your portfolio will somewhere down the line hamper the return in the long term, right? The investment style is not 100% growth, which is evident. It is above average, right? It's a high momentum player. The quality is above average. The volatility is below average, kind of. Liquidity is it's understandable because, but if you see in the last 1 or 2 years, this particular fund has invested more into illiquid stocks. So that's a point of concern. Size, it's perfect. It's a small fund. Means it has started its journey in 2018, and it's understandable that it's placed in the lower quartile of that particular size column, right? Now, when it comes to the risk analysis, this fund, see, just focus on the mean return percentage column. The difference between the index, the difference between the small cap category average and this particular fund is very less. I guess it's nearly 2% or even less than that if you compare with the index. The Sharpe ratio in comparison is higher, right? That means it took higher risks to generate the return, right? Beta is less, understandable. When the Sharpe ratio is high, the beta will always be less. Alpha is more, definitely. When you take more risk, there are chances of getting more alpha, which is evident from this particular basically figure. When it comes to sector, overall, if you see, it's highly invested into the industrial sector, then consumer cyclical, basic materials, financials, and lastly, healthcare. These are the top four exposed sectors of this particular fund. If you see this particular fund, it is in line with the category average, right? Just check the category percentage allocation for basic material. It's 12.79. This fund has invested 13.83. Similarly for consumer cyclical, similarly for financial services, as well as for industrials, right? So it has invested in those sectors in which the most of the small cap category funds have invested. Top 10 holdings, you can see, you can take a screenshot of this particular slide. The top one is IDFC Limited, then is Quest Corp, PSF, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐭 Systems, Elantas, Radico Khaitan, and so on, right? When it comes to the market volatility ratios, when in the upside, it is at par with the category. When in the downside, see, always judge a fund through its downside ability. See, for the past 2 years, this fund had been a darling of all the small cap investors because of the ratings that it had got. Because of the return, definitely it has performed well in the last 1 or 2 years. But see the downside. The category average is 62, but this particular fund has scored 51, right? So until and unless this particular thing gets sorted, this particular fund will have a tough time in sideways as well as a bear market, right? This particular fund has total number of 60 stocks, and top 3 sectors occupy nearly 37% of this particular fund. And about the fund managers, Chandra Prakash Padiyar has been the fund manager of this particular scheme since its inception, that is 2018. And Jitendra Khatri has joined this particular fund this month only, that is October 2023. He is also an experienced fund manager. Now, coming to our analysis, the thing you always wait for. Number one, this particular fund has definitely outperformed the category index and average by around 98 basis point. And if you see the 98 basis point is for the category index, and for the overall scheme, if you see for the past 2 years, it has outperformed by 1.8%. It's not that much big to be called the darling of all the small cap funds, right? The outperformance is not that much. Next, if we see, just a minute. Next, if we see, it is lagged behind. When you see, always judge a fund by zooming out. What I mean, compare the fund or analyze the fund on a 5-year scale, 4-year scale. So this fund has lagged behind the index fund by 96 basis points over the 4-year timeline. If we compare for the 3-year, if you see or analyze for the past 3 years, this fund has a higher Sharpe ratio than the index, which we saw in our third or fourth slide, right? The risk-adjusted performance of this particular fund is similar to its competitor. One kind of, I can say, the positive for this fund is the stable management team. As I told you, Chandra Prakash Padia has been the fund manager since its inception. So there is no complete change of the fund managers for the past 5 years. But when we compare this fund on a risk-adjusted basis, it has struggled to outperform even the index as well as the category average. If we dig deep into the analysis, we see that this fund targets value, deeper value plays, if as compared to the competitors. But when it comes to the size exposure, it does not have much bias because see, it's a small fund. It can't have any bias in terms of size exposure, right? Consistently, it has low exposure to momentum stocks, but lately, when the market was going through a bull run, it had considerable exposure to momentum stocks. As I already told you that this fund has hold huge, not huge, but more than the peers illiquid stocks. It has held more illiquid stocks than its peers, right? And lastly, the fees are a bit higher because this fund has to justify there's no harm in charging a higher fee, but the fund has to deliver before charging the high fee. If you provide value, you can ask for the high charges, right? So our rating is neutral. If you are an existing investor into this particular fund, you should just keep a track of this particular fund. And if you are a beginner, there are better small cap funds as compared to this particular one. But you should not be attracted to any fund just by seeing the rating, be it ours, be it of any other funds, any other portals like Morningstar, like Value Research, like Advisor Coach. There are multiple, like ET Money, Money Control. There are many multiple platforms, right? Never invest based on the ratings of the particular platform, any platform. I just named 3 or 4, but any platform. So that's it for today. We'll meet tomorrow, or let's see, and we'll discuss a different fund, and we will continue with our journey of deep dive analysis of each and every mutual fund. Thank you so much for staying throughout this particular video. And if this video has helped you in any way, please do subscribe to our channel, like this particular video, and if possible, please do share this video with your friends, relatives, or your social media groups. Thank you so much.